Welcome, delegates, to Track 1 Pedagogy. Let us welcome the first presenter, Nurbaiti binti Ahmad, with her final year project titled The Implementation of Oral Corrective Feedback During Online Classes.
Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. My name is Nurbaiti binti Ahmad and my supervisor is Associate Professor Dr. Intan Safinas binti Muhammad Arif Al-Bakri. Today, I will be presenting my final year project entitled The Implementation of Oral Corrective Feedback During Online Classes. Oral corrective feedback is an important element to be implemented in the classroom as it will support students' development in learning second language and to avoid fossilization of errors, especially during online learning. But in online class, where most students would be more hesitant and more passive compared to physical classroom, teachers are troubled on how to give feedback and correct their errors so that they can improve their language skills. Besides, most teachers are having problems in giving oral corrective feedback as properly, as one of the factors that hinder them are the worries of demotivating students, then resulting in them not responding and participating in the classroom discussion. Next, the objective of this research is to investigate the types of oral corrective feedback used by the pre-service teachers and to study pre-service teachers' views on the implementation of oral corrective feedback during online classes. The research questions are: what are the types of oral corrective feedback used by pre-service teachers during online classes, and what are the pre-service teachers' views on the implementation of oral corrective feedback during online classes? There are a lot of literature reviews used to help in understanding this study, but I want to highlight one from Chu 2011, which is language errors are a natural part of the language acquisition process, even in the process of acquiring the first language. However, how teachers would correct the errors is the issue here. So, one way to do it is by implementing oral corrective feedback. The research design for this study is descriptive research, which involved 36 pre-service teachers who have completed their teaching practice 1. Therefore, they have the teaching knowledge and the experience to meet the needs of the research objectives. Next, instruments used in this research are observation checklist and questionnaire. The data for the observation checklist was analyzed using the teaching videos transcriptions and the checklist to determine the frequency of the use of oral corrective feedback by the pre-service teachers. For the questionnaire, the qualitative method was used to analyze the collected data and the results were converted into percentages. Lister and Renta 1997 proposed 6 types of corrective feedback, which consist recast, explicit correction, elicitation, metalinguistic feedback, clarification request, and repetition. Based on these 6 corrective feedback, the researcher has found that the pre-service teachers do implement oral corrective feedback during online class. However, the types of oral corrective feedback used by most of the pre-service teachers during online classes are recast and explicit correction. In addition, the analysis from the questionnaire indicates that most teachers deem oral corrective feedback as beneficial for the students, and they have positive views on the implementation of oral corrective feedback during online classes. Besides, to avoid the fossilization of errors as well as for students to learn from their mistakes are two of the reasons chosen by the majority of teachers on why they correct their students' errors. In conclusion, understanding the significance and the positive impact of oral corrective feedback will enhance ESL teachers' motivation to create successful and effective lessons during online classes. As for the limitation, this study only focuses on the pre-service teachers' views and not all teachers and the students. Therefore, for future research, it is recommended to extend this study to understand actual school teachers as well as the students' perceptions on the implementation of oral creative feedback during online classes. That is all from me. Thank you very much.
Next presenter, Widat Dayana binti Zakaria with her final year project titled Implementing Wait Time in ESL Online Lesson.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Widat Dayana binti Zakaria and I am going to present my title, which is Implementing Wait Time in ESL Online Lesson. So after a few months of learning through online platform, students have become passive and do not participate in the lesson, causing the lesson to be dull and dry. So I decided to implement wait time as one of the strategy to increase the students' participation in online lesson. So my research objectives are to determine whether the use of wait time provided by the teacher are able to increase students' participation in ESL online lesson. And the second one is to determine the type of wait time that can help increase students' participation in ESL online lesson. And my research questions are, how can wait time 1 and wait time 2 provided by the teacher helps to increase students' participation in the lesson? And what are the types of wait time provided by the teacher that can help to increase students' participation in ESL online lesson? So for this research, the research design chosen was action research, and the samples for this research were Form 1 students of MRSM Tumpat Kelantan. I chose 2 classes with a total of 62 students with different proficiencies in English, and they were taught as a group during the online lesson. For this particular research, the instruments used were the video recordings of my teaching during the LM1 and also the transcription of the video. And the data collection procedures for this study is video recording method. The main reason why this method is used is that it is seen as the most befitting and effective way to collect data for an online lesson during this pandemic period. The analysis of data conducted through the analysis of the video recording and also the transcription. So for the findings of my first research question, in the first video, I only implement wait time once. So I only waited after prompting a question, but did not wait after the student's answer. Instead, I provided the elaboration myself, which restricts the student's answer. In the second video, I implemented both wait time 1 and wait time 2. The length of the student's answer was significantly increased as I waited after the students responded, which allows the student to continue and add more to their previous answer. By waiting for the second time, I was giving the students more time to think of a more solid answer to support their previous points. And then the finding for my second research question, there were 3 types of wait time that I used. The first one is teacher pause time, that refers to a period of uninterrupted silence that I took to process the current situation before I come up with the next statement. However, this type of wait time focuses more on the teacher's response rather than the students. The next type of wait time is within teacher presentation wait time. It occurs when I was doing my presentation and I stopped the flow of the lesson to give the students some time to process the information. This wait time allows students to process every information clearly before getting a new input. However, most of the time, when I ask the student if they do understand the lesson, the students will always answer that they do understand, as to avoid avoiding sudden question or to avoid me repeating the lesson and making the lesson longer. And finally, post-teacher question wait time. This type of wait time occurs when I paused after prompting a question and before I continues to permit the students to answer. This is to let the students have enough time without interruption to consider their answer before responding. After I prompted the question, the student would answer the question, both long and short answers. Afterwards, I still wait in case the students still have more to answer and students would continue to answer, and this time with elaboration. So from the analysis, it can be concluded that implementing wait time in ESL online lessons are indeed able to increase students' participation in ESL online lessons. By introducing wait time in ESL online lessons, the students' participation, the quantity, and the quality of the students' answers significantly increase after each lesson. Compared to when the teacher only implemented wait time 1, the students' answer were much longer and solid, when the teacher implemented both wait time 1 and wait time 2. And out of the 3 types of wait time, post-teacher question wait time is the only wait time that fully focuses on the student's answer. This type of wait time brings out the most answer from the students, thus increasing their participation in the lesson. So that is all from me. Thank you.
Next presenter, Eva Yompuri Linggahan with her final year project titled Teachers' Use of Project-Based Learning in an Online ESL Classroom.
A very good day and hi everyone. My name is Eva Yompurlinggahan and today I'll be presenting my research report titled Teacher Use of Project-Based Learning in an Online ESL Classroom. First of all, the purpose of this research is to observe teachers' use of project-based learning to enhance students' participation during speaking activities and to investigate the challenges in incorporating project-based learning in an online ESL classroom. The research questions are: how did the teacher use project-based learning to enhance students' participation during speaking activities? And second, what are the challenges in incorporating project-based learning in an online ESL classroom? Next, the research design that is used for this research is action research, and the research participants are a class of Form 4 students which consists of 18 students with mixed proficiencies. Moving on to the instruments, the 2 instruments that are used in this research are the transcription of the researcher's teaching lesson and the researcher's reflective entry. The findings of this research shows that the research question have been answered successfully, whereby for the first research question, the findings shows that the teacher has used project-based learning to enhance students' participation during speaking activities by grouping the students into group of 3 before assigning the students with their respective projects. By doing so, it gives the students a sense of comfort and reassurance to speak when presenting. Next, the teacher has also given the students a certain amount of time to do their own research and to prepare their findings before presenting it in the classroom. By doing so, since the students are more prepared for it, students feel more confident to talk and present. As for the second research question, the finding shows that the main challenge in incorporating project-based learning in an online ESL classroom is time, since all of the groups need to present their findings. Lastly, for limitations, I believe that the research would be better if the researcher could have carried out 2 lessons instead of 1, whereby one of the lesson is before project-based learning is applied into the classroom and one is after. By doing so, the researcher could compare the before and after, and the researcher could also count the number of times that each student in the class has engaged during the speaking activities. That is all from me. Thank you for your attention.
Next presenter, Arif Hakimi bin Zulazli with his final year project titled Implementing Information Gap Activities to Improve Speaking Skills Among Secondary School Students in the District of Mualim.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. My name is Arif Hakimi bin Zulazli, metric number D2018-108-4640. So here I will be presenting my action research report. So the title of my research is Implementing Information Gap Activity to Improve Speaking Skills Among Secondary School Students in the District of Mualim. So let's go on and proceed with our first slide. So here is my problem statement. So the problem here is that the lack of participation in speaking skills activity. So the verbal responses during an online classroom is considered to be the main problem. And of course, since it's an online classroom, it is harder for the teacher to monitor. So next slide. So research objective. So the general objective of this research is to increase student engagement in a speaking activity through the implementation of information gap activity. So the specific objective is to describe the atmosphere in improving the teaching of speaking to the students by using information gap activities, and to know whether the students score speaking improvement after the implementation of the activity. Next slide. Okay, so this is my research question. So the question is, how the use of information gap technique improve the process of teaching and learning of speaking skill of students in secondary school, and what improvements are found in the student speaking skill as a result of the implementation? And lastly, how did the student respond to the implementation of the information gap activity? So next, methodology. So my methodology and my research instruments consist of three different type of instrument. The first one is classroom observation, second one is semi-structured interview, and lastly survey. So next, the result. So based on the activity conducted during the classes, it can be observed that the students' speaking skill and engagement are increased through the implementation of information gap activity. The technique used while teaching the classroom are able to attract more responses from the students. Students are more comfortable responding to information gap activity exercises, and the implementation created a two-way communication and are integrated in the lessons. So to conclude, information gap activity can assist teachers to increase participation and engagement, specifically during speaking activity. And information gap activity is a visual form of exercise where students are able to connect with the exercises and elaborate answer based on their own understanding. That is all from my action research report. Thanks so much for watching.
Next presenter, Nur Ain Binti Ahmad with her final year project titled Teachers Instruction Giving Skills and Students' Responses in the ESL Classroom.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Nur Ain Binti Ahmad and the title for my final year project is Teachers Instruction Giving Skills and Students' Responses in the ESL Classroom. The purpose of this study is to identify the teacher's instruction giving skills in ESL classroom and to determine the relation between the instructions given and students' response. The issue that is identified is the problem of unclear instructions given by the teacher in ESL classroom. When the teacher gives unclear instructions, it will affect the students' response. The students would not be able to understand what they are supposed to do and they might end up doing it in wrong way. So there are two research objectives for my study, which are to identify the teacher's instruction giving skills in ESL classroom and to determine the relation between the instructions given and students' response. And two of my research questions are, what are the teacher's instruction giving skills in ESL classroom and how does the instructions given able to improve the students' response in class? For the literature review, based on the articles, I can conclude that there are three essential aspects, which are giving simple and clear instruction, explaining and demonstrating instruction, and the sequence in instruction giving. Moving on to methodology. So I use qualitative research method for the data collection and content analysis method to analyze the data. The instrument that is used for my study is in the form of video recording. So there are there are two video recordings that are transcribed and analyzed to collect the data. For the findings, based on the transcription for the first video recording, the teachers seemed to give simple and clear instruction to the students, and the students were responsive and followed the instruction given by the teacher. However, there are some students who were still passive during the teaching and learning session. And for the transcription for the second video recording, the teacher improvised the instruction by giving simple and clear instruction along with demonstration to the students. From that, I observed that the number of students who were responsive and followed the instruction increased. This might indicate that the demonstration did help the student to understand the instructions even better. So to conclude my study, a good instruction giving skills is important for pre-service and in-service teacher to ensure that the students are able to achieve effective learning. Remember, excellent teacher will produce excellent student. That's it from me. Thank you.
Next presenter, Muhammad Fakri bin Muhammad Hajar with his final year project titled The Use of Different Types of Teaching Materials in Online ESL Classrooms.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Fakri bin Muhammad Hajar and my matrix number is D201810825888. The title for my final year project is The Use of Different Types of Teaching Materials in Online ESL Classrooms. Introduction. Let's start with the problem statement. Students will soon forget the one-way explanation delivered by a teacher. Therefore, teaching and learning through the use of teaching materials become permanent and last for a long time. However, students might have different acceptance towards the teaching materials. Research objectives. The first research objective is to find out the different types of teaching materials used in online ESL classrooms. The second research objective is to identify the differences between students' behavior during the use of Kahoot and worksheet. Research questions. The first research question is what are the different types of teaching materials used in online ESL classrooms? The second research question is what are the differences between students' behavior during the use of Kahoot and worksheet? Literature review. The concepts of teaching materials. Brown, 1995, stated that instructional materials are defined as any systematic description of techniques and exercises to be used in the classroom teaching. The pros and cons of course books. Woodward 2001 writes about the advantages and disadvantages of using course books in language teaching. One of them is they give students comprehensible directions and a sense of progress. The pros and cons of alternative material. Light Brown and Spada, 1999, stated that alternative material can be essential to the students' motivation. They need to be sufficiently challenged. Game. Dolati and Mikhaili, 2011, once stated that the game has high entertainment values because it provides an opportunity for the ESL learners to learn language in an enjoyable way. Kahoot game. Delos, 2015, stated that Kahoot is a response system that encourages students to participate and keeps them engaged because of its game-based platform. Methodology. This study is designed based on an action research framework. The research instruments used in this study are recorded teaching videos, video transcriptions, and also behavioral checklists. The data collection method for the first research question is classroom observation, while the data collection methods for the second research questions are classroom observation and behavioral checklists. The data analysis method for both research questions is descriptive analysis. Results and findings. For the first research questions, in all three recorded teaching videos, there are 4 different types of teaching materials. They are presentation slides, textbook, worksheet, and Kahoot game. Research question number 2. Let's start with the students during the use of worksheet. The students are always attempting to answer all of the questions. The students rarely have fun answering the questions. The students never participate actively in the discussion. The students rarely compete with other students to answer the questions correctly the most. The students rarely think critically in answering the questions within the time given. The students always check all of their answers. The second one is the students' behavior during the use of Kahoot. The students are always attempting to answer all of the questions. The students always have fun answering the questions. The students rarely participate actively in the discussion. The students always compete with other students to answer the questions correctly the most. The students always think critically in answering the questions within the time given. The students always check all of their answers. The conclusion for my final year project is different types of teaching materials were able to raise the motivation of students as they enjoy doing the activity in the classroom. The differences between students' behavior during the use of Kahoot and worksheet proves how different types of teaching materials can leave their effects on the participation of the students in the ESL classroom. That's all from me. Thank you.
Next presenter, Siti Maisara binti Ismail on her final year project titled Teachers Questioning Strategies Implemented in ESL Classrooms.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day. My name is Siti Maisara binti Ismail, and today I'll present my final year project, which is Teachers Questioning Strategies Implemented in ESL Classrooms. There is a lack of questioning strategies implemented in the classroom. As a result, first, students may partake in off-task behavior when they are bored or dissatisfied with the teacher's instructions that fails to meet their requirements. Second, students may misbehave when they are unsure of what is expected of them. Thus, this research focuses on teachers' questioning strategies implemented in ESL classrooms and their perceptions on the implementation of questioning strategies in the classrooms. Next, literature review. Based on the articles that I've read, I can conclude two important things that need to be focused on. One, questioning in classroom. Teachers need to pick the questioning strategies that cover the three stages of questioning session: before, during, and after. Second, sets of questioning strategies. Different sets of questioning strategies have varied impacts on students' learning because choosing the questioning strategies is directly connected to the effectiveness of the questions. Bond 2007 has listed 12 types of questioning strategies that minimize classroom management problems that includes all of the three stages of the questioning sessions. Moving on to methodology, this research was conducted using mixed methods, classroom observation checklist, and also questionnaire. The classroom observation checklist is to observe 5 teaching videos of ESL pre-service teachers for further review and analysis about the questioning strategies implemented in their classrooms. The checklist was adapted from the 12 questioning strategies listed by Bond 2007. Meanwhile, the questionnaire, consisting of 10 items, is to study the 30 pre-service ESL teachers' perceptions of the implementation of questioning strategies in ESL classrooms. The questionnaire was adapted from Cotton's 1988 research on the advantages and purposes of classroom questioning strategies that she highlighted. Likert scale by Rensis Likert 1932 is used in the questionnaire, in which consists of 5 Likert scales such as strongly agree, neutral, disagree, and strongly disagree. The classroom observation result shows that all 5 observed pre-service teachers implement questioning strategies in their classrooms. There are 4 questioning strategies implemented the most by all of the pre-service teachers among 12 questioning strategies listed by Bond 2007. They implemented calls on variety of students, ask questions that elicit positive or correct responses, provide sufficient wait time after asking a question and before responding to the students' comments, and lastly, respond to every answer and correct errors. As for the questionnaire, out of all 30 pre-service teachers, on average, they incline on agreeing that the implementation of questioning strategies is crucial in the classroom and that they always implement questioning strategies during questioning session. The pre-service teachers also believe that questioning strategies promote effective teaching and learning in the classroom, help them produce an effective questioning session, and stimulate students to answer their questions. Next, the pre-service teachers also agree that questioning strategies motivate students to participate in the classroom, encourage students to think critically and creatively, help them to scaffold their students' progress properly in the classroom, and they agree on implementing questioning strategies in their future lesson. The questionnaire result reveals that the teachers have positive perspectives towards the implementation of questioning strategies in ESL classrooms. Thus, it implies that the implementation of questioning strategies by teachers is essential in ESL classrooms during questioning sessions. Based on the collected data from both instruments, it is concluded that the pre-service teachers know about questioning strategies and their importance, since they are positive about the implementation and did implement them in their lesson, though not many. Bay et al. 2016 mentioned that teachers do not implement questioning strategies properly or only use 3 to 5 questioning strategies in their classroom which are considered lacking. This might be due to differences in teachers' exposure to questioning strategies. Therefore, I believe that the pre-service teachers are not yet fully exposed to questioning strategies knowledge to implement them to the fullest. Hence, teachers can be made aware of the importance of classroom questioning strategies and given strategies and tools to help them improve their questioning skills and eventually their students' learning experience. And with that, I end my presentation. I appreciate the time you spent. Thank you and have a nice day.
Next presenter, Rina Shri, anak perempuan Kanasen, on her final year project titled Encouraging ESL Students' Participation in the Classroom by Using Games.
A very good day, everyone. My name is Rina Shri, metric number D201810825568, and I'm under the supervision of Dr. Kazaila binti Zainal. The title of my research is Encouraging ESL Students' Participation in the Classroom Using Games. Okay, as for the problem statement, ESL learners encounter problems in mastering the English language due to low self-esteem. As for the general objective of this research is to encourage Form 1 students with low self-esteem to actively participate in the English classroom by implementing games. As for specific objectives, there are two objectives. The first one is to identify the types of games that can help to encourage participation, and the second one is to identify the factors that influence students' participation in the classroom. Okay, as for the research questions, there are two questions. The first one is what types of games can help to develop active participants among students? And the second question is what are the factors that influence students' participation in the ESL classroom? Okay, as for literature review, according to Hatfield, there are two types of games. The first one is competitive games, which is focused more on the goal, and the second one is cooperative games, which are focused more on the teamwork. According to Pransky, games tend to have rules, and these play a huge role in providing enjoyment and encouragement to the students. According to Alice and Brewster, the games can be divided into two categories, which are known as the accuracy-focused game, which is focused more on the accuracy and acquiring the new language while focusing on comprehension, whereas fluency-focused games are focused more on communication and collaboration with others by developing fluency. Okay, as for the methodology, the target group consists of approximately 30 students from one Tanjung and one Suruja combined classes for the classroom observation, whereas 21 students participated in the questionnaire. Okay, so there are two types of data collection methods. One is quantitative data and one is qualitative data. So for quantitative data, questionnaire was used to help the researcher identify the factors that influence students' participation, whereas for qualitative data, classroom observations were done to identify the types of games that encourage students' participation. Okay, as for the results and findings from the questionnaire, as you can see, table 1 shows that majority of the students answered yes, whereas minority of the students answered no. So this clearly shows that majority of students enjoy playing games in the English classroom, as games have the ability to help them focus in class. Okay, as for table 2, we can see that majority of the students enjoyed playing true or false games compared to the rest of the games. The graph above clearly shows that majority of students prefer to play true or false games in the English classroom, whereas the least number of students prefer memory games. Okay, so based on table 3, we can say that majority of them feel that lack of interest in learning English is the one which is hindering students to participate in the classroom. Figure 3 clearly shows that majority of the students do not participate much in the classroom as they have lack of interest in learning the English language. Okay, as for the findings from the observations based on observation 1, when games were not used in the classroom, I noticed that only around 5 or 6 students completed the in-class tasks. So based on my observation, I can strongly say that majority of students were anxious to speak in English as they felt much comfortable chatting with me in English. As for observation 2, during this observation, I implemented a game which was created using Gamey Lab. So majority of them were able to answer the grammar questions correctly in the game, which shows that students did understand what I taught them in the classroom, and the only thing that was hindering their participation was their low self-esteem. As a result, I can strongly say that most of the students were paying attention in my classroom. Okay, as for the conclusion, there are two aspects. The first one is in terms of limitations. So the study was limited to 21 students, which consists of girls and boys who were randomly chosen from one Tanjung and one Suruja in SMK Bandar Sungai Petani. As for the future research, I personally feel that this is a great approach that I should continue using in my English lessons, just because it has the ability to grab the students' attention, to learn and encourage active participation. Therefore, I would strongly recommend this teaching method to be used by all English teachers in their lessons. That is all from me. Thank you.
Next presenter, Nurul Ashikin binti Sofyan on her final year project titled The Impact of Teachers' Questioning Strategies on Learning in ESL Classrooms, the Perspectives of Teachers at SMK Syed Muhammad Al-Bukhari.
Assalamualaikum and a good day everyone. So, my name is Nurul Ashiki binti Sufyan and my metric number is D2108108262. So, the title for my research is The Impact of Teachers' Questioning Strategy on Learning in ESL Classroom, the Perspective of Teacher at SMK Syed Muhammad Al-Bukhari. And my supervisor is Mr. Hadi Junaidi bin Hussein. So, let's move on to the next slide. So, first, we will take a look at the research problem. From the researcher experience during conducting a reading activity, the students were not motivated. This situation might happen because the topic discussed is not interesting or the questioning strategy are not being applied. Next, we move to the second part, the research objective. There are two objectives. The first one is to study the type of questioning strategy used by ESL teachers at SMK Syed Muhammad Al-Bukhari and also to study the effect of questioning strategy on learning. So for the third part, which is the research question, there are three research questions. The first one, what is the notion of ESL teacher at SMK Syed Muhammad Al-Bukhari on questioning strategy? Second one, which questioning strategy mostly applied by ESL teacher at SMK Syed Muhammad Al-Bukhari and also what, according to ESL teacher at SMK Syed Muhammad Al-Bukhari, are the effect of questioning strategy on learning? So, the literature review. Wash 2011 mentioned that the classroom involves human interaction just like any social contact, as it is crucial for the student to understand better the language while learning. Therefore, when we want to understand learning, we should look at the interaction that happened in the classroom. So, the term learning, as mentioned in WASH 2011, is acquiring, getting, having, and possessing new skills or new knowledge. So, there are 8 types of question strategy, which is display and referential questions, procedural questions, convergent question, divergent question, open-ended question, and also closed-ended question, and the last one, higher order thinking skill question or hot question. So, video 2017 study shows that question posed by the master teacher has encouraged the student to speak in the classroom, and also the research from Kemalugu 2021. A referential question that used in the classroom has made students participate both individually and collaboratively. So, the research methodology used is the quantitative method, which is the questionnaire will distribute to the sample through telegram. So, there are 3 findings. So, for the first finding is about the notion of ESL teacher on questioning strategy. Most of the teachers reckon that questioning strategy can encourage verbal interaction between teachers and students, stimulate student thinking and mental activity, and also prompt both low and high level cognitive processes. So for the second finding is about the type of questioning strategy mostly used by the ESL teacher. So there are 6 types of questioning strategy used, which is the first one, higher order thinking skills question, display question, convergent question, divergent question, open-ended question, and also closed-ended question. So, for the third finding, which is about the effect of questioning strategy on learning from the perspective of ESL teacher at SMK Syed Muhammad Al-Bukhari. So, Most of the teachers strongly agree that students communicate better with other students when questioning strategy were applied in the classroom. I think that's all from me. Thank you for listening.
Next presenter, Nur Humaira binti Ahmad on her final year project titled Teachers' Use of Wait Time in ESL Classroom.
Assalamualaikum and greetings to the coordinator of FYP, supervisors, lecturers, and fellow friends. My name is Nur Humairah binti Ahmad, and the focus of my FYP is teachers' use of wait time in ESL classrooms. So what is wait time? According to Rowan 1972, wait time is the silent period between a teacher's question and a student's response. There are two types of wait time in general, which are called wait time 1 and wait time 2. So wait time 1 is the period that teachers wait for the students to answer after prompting a question. Meanwhile, wait time 2 refers to the silent period that the teachers wait after students' response or before giving feedbacks on the students' response. I have identified one problem, which is teachers' inability to apply wait time during the lessons. Hence, this brings us to the objectives of the research. There are two objectives. The first one is to observe the length of wait time 1, which is the silence between teacher questions and students' answer, and wait time 2, which is the silence between students' answer and teachers' feedback, given by the teacher in the ESL classroom, while the second objective is to investigate the problem faced by the teacher to provide wait time 1 and wait time 2. Next, for the research question, the first question is how much time is given by the teacher in wait time 1 and wait time 2. And the second question is what are the problems faced by the teacher to provide wait time 1 and wait time 2. Next, this research involved a pre-service teacher and a total of 24 Form 4 students of SMK Sri. Moving on to the methodology, this research is a qualitative research design. The instruments used to collect data are video recordings of the lessons. The data were collected through two methods. The first method is classroom observation, and the second method is field notes writing. Classroom observation is used to observe the length of wait time 1 and wait time 2. Meanwhile, field notes that were taken during the observation help to identify the problems faced by the teacher in implementing wait time 1 and wait time 2. Next, for the findings of the first research question, which is the length of wait time 1 and wait time 2, as we can see here in wait time 1, which is the silence between teacher's question and student's answer, the teacher gave 0 to 2 seconds length of wait time the most, which holds 60% of the whole percentage. Meanwhile, the suggested wait time, 3 to 5 seconds, was given with the accumulation of 33 seconds. And the least length of wait time 1 given by the teacher was the silence of more than 5 seconds. And similarly, this happened with wait time 2, which is the silence between students' answer and teacher's feedback. So in wait time 2, the teacher also provided the silence of 0 to 2 seconds the most. Meanwhile, the appropriate length of wait time, 3 to 5 seconds, was provided for only 12%. Hence, this indicates that the teacher did not really wait for the students to answer and to elaborate further on their response, which then brings us to look into the problems that the teacher faced. So for the findings of the research question 2, based on the field notes that were taken during the observation, the field notes recorded the general ambience of the classroom. The students as well as the teacher's behavior seemed to have changed throughout the lesson. In the first field note, it was written that the teacher seemed to rush the lesson. This is because even before the students have the chance to answer the teacher's question, the teacher answered her own question. This is then concluded that the first problem that the teacher faced is self-answer. Next, from the next field notes, it was said that the students seemed nervous and anxious. This is because while they were answering the questions, the teacher was always interrupting them, which then makes them feel agitated to answer the teacher's question. This is then concluded that the second problem that the teacher faced was teacher's interruption. Therefore, these two problems limited the teachers from giving the students more time to think on the answer, and this then affected the students' answer. The answers seemed to were not elaborated, critical, and effective enough. Lastly, for the future implications, I would suggest teachers to provide appropriate length of wait time each time teachers ask questions, because it is proof that wait time increases students' participation and it increases students' appropriate answers. That is all from me. Thank you.
Next presenter, Teresa Paulus, on her final year project titled Promoting ESL Learners' Critical Thinking Skills through Problem-Based Learning, PBL.
Greetings to all the lecturers and my fellow coursemates. My name is Teresa Paulus. My matrix number is D2018-1082670, and my supervisor is Dr. Aina binti Bahari, and the title for my final year project is Promoting ESL Learners' Critical Thinking Skill through the Implementation of Problem-Based Learning. Before I start on the presentation of my research, I would like to introduce to you what is problem-based learning. So according to Hung, Jonathan, and Liu in 2008, problem-based learning is an instructional strategy in which pupils are motivated to learn by posing a real-world challenge to solve. While working toward a solution to the problem, students build content knowledge, problem-solving activities, and self-directed learning skills. So that is problem-based learning. Okay, moving on to the problem statement. So, the problem or issue that I would like to gather by conducting this action research is first, the lack of awareness on the effectiveness of implementation of PBL on learners' critical thinking skills, especially among ESL pre-service teachers. Next is the limitation caused by online learning, in which students cannot meet face-to-face, cannot work face-to-face in the classroom. So I would like to cater on that issue, in which I would like to find out the materials and medias that can be used by teachers to implement PBL in the classroom, as I think materials play a huge role in students' classroom performance. Hence, there are two objectives of this action research, which are to find out how ESL pre-service teachers implement PBL in the classroom, and to study how PBL approach help in promoting students' critical thinking skills. And the research questions are: how do ESL pre-service teachers implement PBL in the classroom, and how does the PBL approach help in promoting students' critical thinking skills? Moving on to the methodology, so this research was conducted by interviewing 7 ESL pre-service teachers that had done their teaching practicum 1, and the researcher had also analyzed the lesson products of 7 Form 2 students of SMK Sarike Baru by using a critical thinking rubric. And this critical thinking rubric was adapted from the proceeding papers written by Yujovo in 2015. To answer the first research question, the researcher had conducted interview with 5 pre-service ESL teachers, and during the previous teaching practicum 1, some of the teachers answered that they had used role play, and also they had also done collaborative learning, in which they asked the students to sit together in a group and they have to come up with solution to the problems or situations given to them. And then all of the teachers make sure that their activity was planned according to the learning objective and learning outcomes. And also the teachers also mentioned on the materials used. All of the teachers emphasized on technological tools, since the lessons were conducted online. So some examples are they used Canva, PowerPoint slides, Google Slides, and also they use Padlet platform to help them assess their students. For the next research question, the researcher have analyzed 4 lesson plans of 7 Form 2 students of SMK Sarike Baru, and these 4 lesson products, 2 of them are from speaking skill activity and 2 of them are from writing skill activity. So these lessons were conducted during the researcher teaching practicum 1, and all of these activities had been transcribed and assessed using the rubric. And to answer the research question, PBL helped in promoting critical thinking skill by allowing students to apply components of critical thinking skill based on the rubric. Through the implementation of PBL, students can actually have a more meaningful lesson, as they can learn more about things outside of the classroom, like involving themselves in a real life situations, which is very helpful for them. Last but not least, I would like to express my greatest gratitude to Dr. Irene for helping me with this research. And yeah, I think that is all from me. Thank you.
Our final presenter, Dwi Jian Sukmawati, who is from Universitas Muhammadiyah Semarang, Indonesia, with her project titled An Analysis of the Relationship Among Pre-Service Teachers' Beliefs and Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge TPAK in English Education.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Rijian Sukmawati. I'm from English Education Department, University of Muhammadiyah Semarang from Indonesia. And in these sessions, we would like to present our research entitled An Analysis of the Relationships Among Pre-Service Teachers' Belief and Pedagogical Content Knowledge or TPEC in English Education. So in this research, I collaborate with nurses Destiana Dini Wijayatinisi and nurses Riana Eka Budiastati. The first chapter is about introductions. Why did I choose this topic? Because number one is this pandemic era demands the teachers to do the online classes. So that is why the pre-service teachers or teachers should be more aware and preparing their technology integration to achieve the effectiveness of teaching and pedagogical goals, even though in unexpected conditions. And then the second one is nowadays the use of technology for pedagogical purpose can encourage the student learning occasions. And as said by in 2011, 2019, the student learning occasion can be great when the teacher's pedagogical principles pick up with the effectiveness of using technological tools. And the last one is teachers may doubt while integrating the technology because lack of guidance and support. And then the research question of this study, number one is how are pre-service teachers believe about technology integrations relevant to the component of TPEC while doing the online classes. And the second one is how does the projective relationship between pre-service teachers belief and perceived knowledge in TPEC domain. And we are going in second chapters about the literature review. The second chapter is about the literature review, so theoretical review about those and defects. For these beliefs is about someone's opinions about abilities in a given particular domain. And then TPEC is theoretical structures for representing technology integration, pedagogical, and content knowledge. And then the third chapter is about the methodology of this research. This research using mixed method sequential exploratory design, which divided into two stages, qualitative method and quantitative method. And then the research subject of this study is they are pre-service teachers of English education at 7th semester, which consists of 10 pre-service teachers, 8 female students and 2 male students. And the instrument of the study using observations, interview, and questionnaire. The next chapter is about the interview result. The result of the interview showed that pre-service teachers about classroom experiences influenced by several factors such as their teaching experiences and then formal teachers training and contextual factor like student background and facility support. And then observation results show that there is the same ways of pre-service teachers in teaching. And pre-service teachers use the interactive instructions such as give the students quizzes or games and then give the student chance to deliver their ideas or opinion by cooperate with each other and participate in peer conversations. The discussion qualitative data results show that pre-service teachers using technology to help them preparing their lesson plans and then determining the lessons, determining the learning method and strategy, and then also arranging the subject matter and content. It is also affect their confidence in teaching online. And then the second one is discussion about quantitative data results. In this based on the descriptive tables of TPEC above, it can be inferred that the perceived knowledge about TPEC of the perceived teachers in English education are in category high. It can be seen from the table that most of the pre-service teachers get the high score in the questionnaire with interval more 15.7%, and this result is related with the interview and observation data result. And then the last chapters is about the conclusions and the suggestions. And I conclude that pre-service teachers' belief about technology integration was very influential in online teachings. And then based on the data qualitative result, it can be inferred that there is correlation or linear correlation between pre-service teachers' belief and their teaching knowledge. And then the suggestions for pre-service teachers should join in training about teaching to increase their skills and knowledge, and then they should multiply their references about teaching strategies and appropriate instructions, and then there must give the strict rules which have been agreed with the students in the beginning meeting, and then there should multiply their references about communicative game in order to increase the students' interest in the classroom. And therefore the school should consider to provide the other platforms of teaching, and schools should provide many kinds of references of instructional activities. And for the future researchers, the study was advisable if the future research conduct this study, which almost the same with this study, but only focus on 2 frameworks or more in details and specifically to get the comprehensive results. And then the next is the references of the study. I think that's all for me. Thank you for your nice participations. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
We hope you have gained knowledge from our presenters. Please do join us for the closing ceremony that will begin in a few minutes. Thank you and see you there.